Morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning, good morning. All right, so maybe I need you to stay in one place because apparently the service in these older age communities is just not what it used to be. So Rhino Bot is actually working to put it on its own page. Team is working on that as we speak. Microsoft's allowing us unlimited branding so we can really do a good job with it. When it comes to what the page is going to look like, though, I said to the team, I want it to look like Rhino Street. Nice, sleek, beautiful, white, have the rhino green. Hey, Andrew. And just look good. And maybe have like, well, not maybe, but have a sentence or two of direction. So I actually am really optimistic that we could have the affiliate bot by the end of the week. In which case we would deliver the affiliate bot to everyone that wants to be a part of it. We would make the page for you because we just duplicated ourselves. You would have the Rhino Bucks URL. So rhinobucks.com/Frida or something. And that would be that. I mean, the cool part is you would automatically get a ton of traffic because anyone that goes to Google and types in Rhino Bucks, well, Rhino Bucks will come up, but then it'll kind of be like a slew of, I guess, these affiliate sites. So I don't really know, but that's kind of cool. Rhino Bot, what makes it so special is it's not just a bot that only knows about Rhino. It's ChatGPT 4.0 in a bot that's specialized to sell Rhino. So you, for instance, can offer it as anything. Hey, I have a bot here that knows everything about everything. You can ask it any question in the world and it knows the answer, which is correct. It knows everything. The part that makes it Rhino is that every 2 or 3 sentences, it's going to look for the opportunity to take your question or take your answer and apply it to why Rhino would be a solution for you. So say, for instance, you're like, I really wish I knew how to make a good ham and cheese sandwich. Oh, well, here's the recipe. Oh, great. I'm looking for good mustard. Well, here's the best mustard. And if you want the best of something else, let me tell you about Rhino. So that's all that. That's all the fun stuff. The not so fun stuff is actually what I'm going to share with you. Because I think I might actually need some help. It's so weird. I remember when I was in high school, because I grew up in like the worst divorce ever. My parents were like New Jersey's all-time worst divorce ever. And yet I was still a straight A student at private schools. My high school, Christian Brell's Academy, was 18,000 a year as a high school, right? So like I went to good places. I got straight A's and I never let it bother me. It was like I would walk around school as if nothing was going on. I was always on time to everything, just nothing. And the school psychiatrist is like, I want to speak to you. You're just acting like nothing happened. And it was all in the newspapers and everything. It was just really bad. And he's like, so how are you taking it? I was like, oh, I'm fine. What's up? He's like, how's things at home? I was like, oh, they're a little, they're interesting, but I go home, I do my homework, I take care of my brothers, and everything's okay. It'll be fine. Other people have it worse. And they really didn't. Like we had it the worst. And so he's like, let me ask you something. Even with the entire load of the world on your shoulders, if somebody asked you for a favor, what would you say? I was like, oh my God, I would do it in a second. There would be no stopping me. I would do anything for anyone. And it's funny because as I say this, I'm reflecting back at maybe the initial DNA of Rhino, right? Like, because that is who we are. And he goes, oh, okay, that's really good. He goes, let me ask you a second question. If you ever needed help, would you ask anyone? I go, no, never. He goes, why? He goes, what if a stranger asked you for help? Would you still do it for a stranger? I go, yeah, absolutely. I don't care who it is. It's everyone's equal to me. I will help anyone. He goes, but would you ask your best friend for a favor? I was like, no, never. He's like, isn't that a little strange? I was like, I just don't want to bother anyone. He goes, no, that's not it. He goes, may I tell you something that's going to stay with you the rest of your life? I was like, sure. Because the reason why you won't ask for help is because whether you really realize it or not, you're so affected by what's been going on that you could not handle someone saying no to you. That if somebody said no to you, it would crush you to such a point because you built yourself up on everything's okay and that you're normal and that nothing's wrong. I was like, well, Doc, way to ruin a good party. But he was right. And I never asked anyone for help. In fact, I never did. So I've just been going through life as I do, right? Like I'm just gonna keep going. So there's a good and bad of everything, right? The good part about Anthony from a romantic perspective is Anthony's very easy to be attracted to. And it's not that I'm sitting here talking about appearance or this or that or the third, but when you put the checklist together, it's he's confident, he's really goal oriented, he has a vision. It's really giant. There's no telling him no. He's going to do it, and he's easy on the eyes, and he wants other people's approval. So it equals a good companion. Buys he'll buy me flowers, right? That's fine. So it's really, I'm a great date. Let me tell you that. And when you take it even further, I'm a great fiance. And when you take it even further, I'm a great husband. I believe so. When you take it to the full extent, I'm the best father in the entire world. There is not a single, and I'm not comparing myself to anyone else, but when you take a look back at the story I just shared with you, the genesis, the crown jewel of that story is Anthony's childhood. So there is nothing in Anthony's future that he would ever that's like, and everyone in Rhino knows at 4 o'clock, I don't even have my phone anymore. And if you took a look at my emails, I've get like almost 10,000 a day and all this stuff. But at 4 o'clock, I pick up my son from school and we hang out. In fact, at 5 a.m., I wake up and I walk my daughter around our community. And then I wake our son up at 6:30. I make everyone in the house breakfast. I get him dressed. We brush his teeth. Like we're men. Come brush teeth with dad. And I take him to school. School's around the block, so everyone knows this. That's so when Anthony's in Rhino, Anthony's in Rhino. When Anthony's not in Rhino, Anthony's being a dad. The problem with that is when Anthony's being a dad, it's not that Anthony's not being a husband, but Anthony's not, all right, come on, come do this, come do this, come do this. Just kind of jump on board, go with it. And also that Anthony set such a standard because again, maybe he's setting a standard from a background of hurt, but it's an obscene standard. Like me and my son do wind sprints in the hallway of our leasing office. We practice speed there. We go to the park every day, like stuff like that. You would say to yourself, well, Ant, that's like a seriously high bar. Well, I don't care. I do it every day. And that's the joy. I love doing it. But when you go ahead and start comparing, when my wife doesn't do the same stuff, it's not that I say anything. Everyone's their own, whatever. I'm the cool parent. No big deal, right? Like there's always a cool parent and there's always a rules parent. No cookies. Make sure you brush your teeth. And that's okay. Maybe traditionally that is mom and dad. And I'm okay with it. What I'm not okay with is that when my wife has our children at home, they're always crying, no matter what room, no matter what child she has, they're always crying. And here's the problem in terms of you don't know what you don't know. When dad sets such a standard that's obscenely high, and purposely so, like me as Rhino, imagine that translated as being a father. Like I really I'm not embellishing or being hyperbolic. That's dad. And kids are so young that they don't find it offensive to leave mom and run to dad. They don't find it offensive to cry with mom and run to dad. And I know this. So hey, why don't you come with us, right? Like when I see things like that happen, or if I see opportunities, like I was in the room with them the other day and everyone was having fun and my wife walked by and I was like, hey, why don't you come in? And I exited the room. So I was like, you know what? Like she's still a mother. Like I can't imagine what that would feel like that your kids just cry with you and they don't want to be around you, because it's not anything purposeful to her. It's not like she hits them or something, but kids are also smart. And what they've realized is there's been a growing tension in the household. When we got together, I think, a year and a half ago, she was a nurse, but then she got pregnant, right? So she was on maternity leave, blah, 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 blah. Then she had this dream. She wanted to start her own business. And of course, when someone asked her, why'd you want to start your own business? Well, my husband has his own business. It was very inspiring. I would like to do that. And I think I tell y'all all the time, being a business owner is kind of like, it's fun in name. Now you have to love the journey, right? Like I love every second of it, but maybe I'm masochistic, right? Like maybe I'm just cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I love every second of every day and the belief that we are actually going to accomplish our goal. And then everything along the way is a good story to tell and a good, this is how I did it. Good. I have dreams of going to my children's school and giving speeches and going to business schools and saying, this is what it takes. I don't look at my journey as my journey. I look at it as, if I could give the world this experience, bottle it all up and share every part of it and show them that don't ever give up and don't ever believe that your dreams are too big, then that's my gift. Like, that was what I was for. So that's what inspires me. Like, as you can tell, I'm almost getting teary-eyed. It's something much larger than, oh, Rhino's 234 today. I know I can handle that stuff. Well, when I helped, and I did help my wife get her feet off the ground financially, with my time. And again, it's not like I'm a husband, right? Like, you do that stuff. But anyone that knows me, I don't have the time to begin with, but I'm a husband. So this is the time that I have. That's what I'm supposed to do. So I went to like the grand openings and I helped with the ideas and I helped with the business plans and all of this stuff. And it ultimately failed. And when it was failing, nothing ever fails overnight, right? Like, the reason why we have Rhino Ledger is because that's my way of doing two things. One, letting you know that I do not believe failure happens overnight. You can see it happening. And secondly, empowering you to see it for yourself. Anyone has the ability to make a decision anytime they want. Hey, I'm seeing this. Maybe Anthony's just being a little bit rosy glasses, but I don't like this. So I'm going to bail because I think this is going to fail. It rhymes. I'm going to bail. That should be a sticker somewhere. Anyway, not at Rhino, but somewhere else. So as her business was failing, and it's not hard to see. It was a, oh, hey Deb, it was an IV therapeutic spot. So that's very, okay, how many customers do we have? How many leads do we have? What is our conversion rate? Okay, I'm getting this many leads in, I'm converting this many people. And her initial success was on the conversions of friends and family, which is always going to be the people that you get in. Remember when we did Rhino, the first 200 were day one. How long did we sit at 350? And I had said, even at that point, because again, I'm not saying stuff today that I never thought of before. When you get to 350, sure, that's great, but that's kind of the people that already liked you. Get past 350, now you're convincing people that never even knew you. That's where it's like, okay, and we've done that. And we're very proud, and well, not proud, but we're very pleased with it. So when her numbers were dwindling, she would start recalling past customers. Hey, mom, hey, sister, hey, whatever, why don't you come back in? The problem is, when someone goes ahead and patronizes your service as a friend or family, they're doing it because they're a friend or family. They're not doing it because they really need the service. Now, sometimes maybe it's both, right? But now you're kind of bothering them. Like, hey, I was there and now you're, go work, go do something. So I would say to her, Tange, you need to have some type of lead system built in. You need to do some type of Facebook marketing. You need to do something. And when she would ask me, how do I think she should do it? Well, I only know how to do it from what's worked for me. Get out there, make a live every day, grow a community, let them know who you are, offer things for free, just give away stuff, value, and then allow the individual to choose to, join a premium product. Maybe do, for the next 2 months, unlimited for whatever, right? And those are always the best gifts. Did you ever go, you know why Christmas season, all these stores sell gift cards? Because they're great gifts and no one ever redeems the full gift card. And if they do redeem the full gift card, it's because they're paying extra. Like, if you give someone a $25 gift card, they either redeem like 16 or 17 if they remember to do it, or they use it for one of their like $500 purchases. No one ever buys exactly $25 worth of stuff. So they're really, really great. So use that concept for your own business. And unfortunately, from her perspective, or at least this is me playing Psych 101, she got into being a business owner because it's cool, right? Like, it's cool. Like, she would post all these pictures, Black owned business, girl power, I'm making it. And you guys see what I post. I'll never do that. I don't think we made it till we made it. And even when we make it, I'm not going to do it. I'm going to be like, can someone take this from me? Like, I never agreed with it. And of course, I kept my mouth shut. But when she would ask for advice, and now here's the thing. So she would stop asking for advice because I was giving advice that she didn't want to hear. She didn't want to put her face out there. She didn't want to do the work. It was, and I feel like that's mean-spirited, because she would have gone, she was willing to do the work as an employee, not as a business owner. And there's a big difference. One's labor and one's problem solving. And you hear me always talk about this. So ultimately, inevitably, the business failed. Now, mind you, I helped fund it, I put money into it, time, and all the rest of it. She then went ahead and I identified a person that had the business that she wanted to have and was doing it successfully. It was like a massage therapist that I went to. And, the massage therapist is, how's your life? How's your wife? I was like, oh, my wife, owns an IV therapeutic spa. She's like, oh my God, who's her doctor? I really want to get one of those in here. And I thought to myself, oh my God, this would be a perfect fit. So I introduced them, and long story short, my wife now works as a partner, but she's an employee over there. Great. Well, now we don't have really much in common anymore. She doesn't really talk to me about business. And now we're back to the home life because we had two things. We had business where we would talk about, and hey, what are you doing? What are you doing? What's the idea? How was your day? How was your day? Okay. And there's the children. So now you have a moment where not only are we not talking about our work days, but she doesn't even want to share her work days because she feels she'll never admit it, but probably a bit inadequate because I'm a team member. Husband and wife are a team. But if one individual tries to do what the other one does and fails at it, they have a moment where they have to say, oh my God, I really appreciate what he does. This is tough. Oh my God, Aunt, I don't know how you do it. Or whatever, you know what? Enough of him. And unfortunately, I think when you added the kids into it, it was the latter of the two. So now the kids see mommy and daddy not speaking so much and all the rest. And she just clearly isn't happy because I can't imagine as a mother, especially since she would try to take pictures during the day of the kids and like post them and this and that. It just wasn't organic. And she would just see them run to me. And I was never competing, but I'm never going to lower my standard for someone else. It's just I just won't do it. And maybe that's a fatal flaw. I just won't. So I could see that she was getting a little, distant. But again, what does my day look like? My day is my daughter in the morning, my son, bringing them to school, working, picking them up from school, being dad. In which case she would come home late all the time. I won't be home till 6. And then when 6 o'clock comes around, she starts bath time and serves dinner, which is dinner that I made. So there's no real conversation there. And then at like 7:30, the kids are down. And then it's like, okay, well, daddy's almost sleeping on the couch already. And she goes to her room. So that's been our life. The problem is no one's life is really that. No one doesn't talk to anyone. And unfortunately, from her genius of choices, she found friends with the wrong people. So, and I don't know this to be fact, but when you see like ex-boyfriends floating around, it's like, I'm not dumb. So yeah. Now her mother is V. I don't know if anyone knew that. I never really, advertised that, but that's mother and daughter. And now her mother would offer to come to the house to babysit our daughter, Morris, in which case she would do concierge from our house. And it was kind of like win-win. Our concierge is being taken care of, our daughter has a babysitter, and I'm able to work unencumbered. I'm just able to work, and my wife's able to go to work. Okay. Well, when all this starts happening, I start feeling it. Like I know what's coming. And about 2 months ago, I felt like I think she's gonna try to I think she wants a divorce. I think she's starting to kind of move pieces around. Like I just felt it. So I said to V, and it was a privileged position. We didn't need to have concierge. I've always answered my own emails my whole entire life. In fact, if no one's noticed, which I hope you didn't notice, because that means I did a good job, I've been answering all the emails for the last 3 weeks. It's been me. I do them all. So we let her go, and that's fine. So she has to go find a replacement income somewhere. And again, that's her life. It's fine. She's always at the house. She's always babysitting Amaris during the day. But I always knew that wasn't going to be permanent. She could not. It'd be impossible for her to babysit our daughter every day without having a job. It's not possible. So my wife was interviewing nannies and stuff without even asking me, of course. I was like, Tangi, you, you gotta like let me know this stuff. And she's like, oh, well, we need a nanny for Amaris and blah, blah, blah. I go, I work across the street at a leasing office for the sheer fact that your mother could spend time with her. If your mother's unable to babysit any longer, that's fine. I will work from home. I worked my butt off my entire life to be in a position to make decisions like this. The children are my number one. They were my everything. No, no, no. You can't work Rhino and babysit. I was like, don't tell me what I can and can't do. I'm her father and I can make that decision. I can move things around. I can do this. I don't think anyone in Rhino would say, oh man, Aunt, those 10 a.m. calls, you threw them away to babysit and that was the final draw. I couldn't do it. That's like I work my butt off to be in a position to make decisions like this. So no, no, no. So her mother kept working, which is odd because how is she still working? She doesn't have a job. Maybe she has, savings or whatever. And then you start noticing that your wife is no longer wearing her wedding ring. Okay, well, I got her a nice Tiffany's wedding ring. It was like $20,000. So I'm like, okay, I'm starting to put the pieces together. I see where the money's coming because my wife works as an employee, basically. It's not like she's making a ton of money. And so I stopped kind of paying for groceries and she would just keep buying all of them. And I'm like, where is this money coming from? And that's just my way of kind of like keeping my ear to the ground type of thing. Okay, whatever. So then last week, she said to me, she goes, I'm filing for divorce. I already have a new place. I'll be moving in 2 months. I don't want anything from you. You could see the kids anytime you want. I'm leaving. I'm taking the kids. That's it. I was like, you don't want anything. You just want my kids. That's it. And also the other component to this that just bothers me. When our kids were crying, or even before they were crying, in my wife's mind, it's either you feed them, you put them to bed, or you have to let them cry. Like those are the three options. And I'm not even faulting moms. Like I think that I just think that I was super duper when it came to them. And so my son has a crush on this girl, Mila, that lives around the block. I take him on like play dates with her at the park. There's these two girls that live across to the other apartment that they have fun waving to each other. We have all these new games we play. We go to the park every day, all this stuff. And it's not, oh, Aunt, I'm so great, but all these things would actually not exist in his life. They just wouldn't exist because she would have never done them. Now, I can't say what might have existed in lieu of me, but I can tell you they would not exist. So they wouldn't. So when she says, "Oh, I'm taking the kids," I not only like if she was a replica of me, and I know that's like a big sentence, right? And it might even be selfish. I don't know. But if I truly believe like this person, like they were just gonna have you know what? I'll say it this way. When people say to me, Aunt, what's so special about Rhino? What do you do that's different? Everything you do, you say out loud. You tell everyone. In fact, you tell everyone what you're going to do. In fact, you tell everyone what you're thinking about doing. I go, I'm the difference. No one will outwork me. And I always say, if somebody makes a better Rhino than me, I'll join. Because it's not about me. It's about what we're trying to do. And if we can go ahead and team up with someone that has a better probability of achieving it, okay. So if I believe that about my wife, I believe that these kids were like, I can't give them what she can. They're going to go to trips to Disney World every day. She's you know what? I understand. Let's just come up with a fair arrangement. And, they always cried when they were with me anyway. And you know what? This is for the best. I'm a very sensible, logical person. I think everyone here knows that. But that's not the case. I know what their lives would look like. In fact, my son, every night, wakes up somewhere between 11 p.m. or 2 a.m. because he wants dad to come in and get him. And he gets this big smile. He's already standing at his crib waiting. And he's not crying anymore. He has a big smile and he throws the pacifier. Like, hey, what took you so long? I pick him up and I go, do you want a bottle? And he says yes because he feels like he's supposed to say yes. So I give him the bottle. And when he's done with it, I pick him up to put him back in the crib. He looks at me with such a fidget and goes, no. And I go, what? He points to the couch because he wants to sleep on the couch with dad. And he wants to sleep on the corner of the couch because the two corners connect. And I sleep on one side, he sleeps on the other side. And as the night goes on, he moves so close that he sleeps on my head. Like that's him. In fact, the other day was the first time that when we left for school, go give mommy a kiss, and he didn't. And it was really telling. It was just like it's progressing to be not good from her perspective. So last week she says, oh, I'm getting a divorce and I'm gonna take the kids and whatever. And I was like, well, I that's like a conversation we have to have. I'm totally not agreeing to that at all. I go, and now that you're telling me you're looking to take my kids, I want to spend more time with them. Please tell your mother, in which case I texted both V and Tangi together and said, I'm going to start working from home next Monday, being yesterday, a week ago, and I'll watch Morris during the day. And there's such a tantrum. No. I'm not stupid. It's because they want to have the continuity argument. Because again, nothing's a coincidence in Rhino. When we did the divorce bot for prompt engineering, it's because I wanted it. I use it. Like I need to figure out what I'm doing. And all things being equal, if daddy's a good guy, mommy's a good girl, well then there's a continuity involved. All right, if everyone could support the kids and everyone's great and mommy's good and daddy's good, well the tiebreaker goes to continuity. Where do the kids go to school? Who are their friends? What is their daily routine? If we could keep that as much as possible as it is right now, that's in the best interest of the children. Well, the routine is daddy wakes up with the Morris, daddy walks Morris around the block, daddy wakes up Christian, daddy makes Christian and mommy breakfast, daddy gets Christian dressed, daddy brings Christian to school where he sees his teachers and says goodbye, daddy goes to work, mommy goes to work. V, mommy's mom, watches Morris during the day. Daddy comes home from work, picks up Christian, tells V, thank you very much, we'll see you later, and daddy watches both until mommy gets home and then she does bedtime. So if you were going to make a continuity argument, well, daddy definitely has continuity of Christian. Like that's, like he takes her, like that's daddy. Mommy doesn't really have continuity of anything, but she's working. Like there's no fault in that. Her mother has continuity of Morris. Well, if her mother has continuity of Morris and mommy and daddy get divorced, and mommy says, well, I don't want to watch Morris at daddy's place, I want to watch Morris at mommy's place, well, then you could very easily see the argument, well, let's split the difference. Daddy has continuity of Christian, mommy has continuity of Morris, everything's fine. Now, of course, neither one, well, I used to want to say nice things about her. I'm finding out that, you know, the Bible story where the real mother chooses not to split the baby. I always thought that was her, but she's the other one. She's ready to split them. Like she wants to just, which is ugly, but whatever. The point of the story being, when I went ahead and made that determination, they flipped. In fact, Tange later that day took her phone, put it on the floor after pressing a couple buttons, and tried to pick a fight with me. And I wasn't born yesterday. I was like, oh my God, are you doing what I think you're doing? So I didn't say that out loud. I walked over to her and I picked the phone off the floor and she flew to grab it. She was recording me. She was trying to pick a fight to record. And this whole entire week, that's all she's been doing, walking around the house, picking fights, recording me. Now, here's the problem that maybe Anthony probably could have done a better job. So during the week, now I'm living with this person that I'm like, really like, I'm so upset with. Oh, so I didn't even finish the story. So she, after she got rattled and felt so like the police arrived. And I'm in the house, sitting with my son, watching The Lion King, and the police are knocking at the door. So I open the door and the police are like, oh, you should send your son downstairs to your mother. I was like, no, why? Well, your mother doesn't want your child to see the police. I was like, why? Police are heroes. That my son should be honored. And the police were like, okay, cool, like we get it. So they tried to kind of ruffle me a little bit. And of course, I'm fairly well spoken. So long story short, after 10 minutes of speaking to the cop back and forth, the cop letting my son see his badge, give him a high five, like, and I say this to demonstrate it was a good outcome. The cop exits, brings my wife back up, says, is his final piece, leaves. Came, seen, investigated, left. Done. Okay. So now I really look at my wife. I'm like, you are, I was like, you're, and I can imagine that hit her pretty hard. So she went into her bedroom because I sleep on the phone. As the week went on, she now took even less of an interest in the kids because she was just, like, I'm done with this. So the kids were just nonstop crying. And it just, if you add it all, I'm like, what do you do? Like, what are you doing? Like, can you do something? And a couple times I cursed, which I really don't ever do. And I stopped myself. There's a bunch of times I left the house and walked around the block or whatever. I had some beers at night where I just zoned out in front of the TV, hung out with my children. And again, nothing bad. Like, there wasn't like an act of violence, nothing like that. But just not happy, mumbling under my breath, saying, things that weren't very flattering about her. And I felt well within my rights. And again, it just happened. So whatever. So then yesterday comes, and it's like the main event, right? Like the main event is happening because I'm going to stay home and I'm going to watch my daughter, and this is going to break the continuity. Now, mind you, we never spoke about continuity. I'm just not stupid. So this is going to break the continuity, and Daddy's going to have a really, really strong case when this ever goes to court. Well, Daddy is from 6 a.m. to 6:30 p.m. And then Mommy's like 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. And, what are we doing here? The kids go to school around the block, right? Like, what are we doing? Everything in the morning goes fine. And I walk Christian to school. Christian wanted to be held because he was feeling a little lazy that morning. So I carried him. And I say that because I know it was a brisk walk. I carried him to school. It wasn't like I had to follow him walking around chasing birds. I get back home and no one's in the house. I'm like, you gotta be kidding me. So I text her and she's like, I have a Mars. I'll be back later. I was like, where are you going with my daughter? Like, what is going on? You can't just take my daughter. I go, if you don't return or tell me at least where you're going, I'm going to call the police. And she's like, well, go ahead and do that. And apparently, she is a lawyer. Like, she knows that she's well within her rights. Because what I didn't know, of course it would rain. Let's see if I could go into this guy's shed, he'll mind. Because what I didn't know is clearly you can't kidnap your own child. So, Anthony, are you fearful that the child's in danger? No, the child was with his mother, her mother. Well, there's nothing we could do. The mother has the child, and that's that. I was like, okay, this is really not cool, but all right. So then I worked from the leasing office. I actually exit the house because I'm like, I don't want to be here when she gets home. Let me just work. I go to the leasing office. Okay. So then at 4:15, 4:20, I then say, okay, it's time to go get my son. And I'm like super excited because, like, come on, your wife is playing these games, like playing hide and seek with your daughter, hiding her places, which I know what she did. She brought it to V's house and then went to work. Like, I'm not stupid. But I was so excited. I can't wait to see Kristen. So as I get to the school, I see that my wife is parked in the school parking lot. And I'm like, I'm not going to fight with her at the school. Like, this is so silly. So as I'm walking to the door, I see that she's still in her car. I'm like, okay, cool. She's in her car, which means I can walk in. I'm there by myself, whatever. And if she walks in behind me, like, I'll be cordial. Okay, cool. Hey, mommy. And we'll all go home together. Like, that's not a problem. I go to the door and my code no longer works. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. And I see her laughing in the car. I'm like, is this a joke? That my code no longer works. My code no longer works. So I press the button to be buzzed, and the principal comes out. Now, mind you, I actually went to school earlier after dropping my son off to speak to the principal and say my wife is kind of pulling these stunts. I did call the cops early in the morning. They're like, there's nothing we can do, blah blah blah, because they actually responded. They came to the house. So the principal was like, well, we got paperwork. We got a restraining order against you for your son. I was like, excuse me? She goes, yeah, judge signed a restraining order. We're not allowed to release your son to you. And she looked at me. Now, mind you, they see me every day. They see me when my son sees me and he runs around and runs to his dad. And I looked at her and she goes, I know. I was like, it's okay. It's not your fault. Of course it would ring this hard, wouldn't it? I go, that's fault. You didn't, like, this is the way it is. This is safe and this is what's going to happen. So then I go home
and I call the police. And I'm like, guys, I'm being told there's a restraining order. And the police didn't even know what it was about. So I have to call you back. I have to call you back. After a half hour of not getting called back, I call him back. He goes, all right, we have an officer coming to your house now to explain it to you. I was like, you gotta be kidding me. I know exactly what's gonna happen. Now, so I actually left my door open for the officers to walk in because I know you're coming. There's no hostility. Come on in. So the officers arrived, and one of the officers was the officer that responded that night. Remember, I told you my son played with badge and everything. I look at him. I go, we meet again. He goes, I'm so sorry. He goes, I just found out 12 minutes ago, and I requested to come. I was like, what's going on? He goes, well, your wife got a restraining order, and the judge actually approved it. I go, for what? He goes, well, the incident that I came and responded to last week. He goes, she went to court today and filed domestic violence charges. I go, wait a second. You're telling me that the incident that you came for, that you investigated, that you cleared, that you spoke to her and spoke to me, and then you left, and that a whole week of nothing happening, she can then retroactively go file charges and get them approved. Because in the state of New Jersey, yes. It's like, and that sounds okay. He goes, I'm sorry. He goes, this is just the way it is. So he handed me the whole complaint. And during the course of this week, he had kept like a ledger, I guess, or something, very, very small, like a really small diary. On this day, Anthony said this to me. It was mean. The kids were in the room. I feel unsafe. Great, like very, very hearsay stuff. No pictures, no physical altercation, none of that. Just he cursed in front of the kids. I feel threatened. I feel this. I feel that. I'm reading this. I'm like, wait, officer. I don't mean to like, can we just talk as men? He's like, yeah. I go, not only is she retroactively filing domestic violence charges, but this entire paper is her saying what she recalls me saying during the week that she filled out today, and all it is things that she felt were mean that shouldn't have been said in front of our children. Am I getting this right? This is what a judge approved this restraining order on? He's like, yeah. I go, let me guess. You're asking to remove me because if there's a restraining order, you can't both live in the same house. And if the children have a place of residence, well then the tie goes to the person that filed the restraining order. He goes, yes. I go, this is like cuckoo for Cocoa Puffs. I go, I'm actually going to have to be removed from my house because of this. He goes, yes. I go, I'm going to go. I'm not fighting with you. You're not the judge. I go, so when's my court case? He goes, actually, your court case is first on the docket. We made sure it was immediate. It's Friday, the 30th. He goes, get all your stuff together, get everything you need. I go, what stuff? It's not like I sat home and kept ledgers of stuff. I work. So I showed him some videos of my son and I. He goes, these are great. Like, just compile this stuff. Find people that you've interacted with. Find people that know you. Get some people to say nice things about you. Stuff like that. And I was like, okay, all right. I don't know what the end game is. And here in New Jersey, especially New Jersey, I can't speak to any other states. They're very, very mom wins, like sight unseen. That's the mother, that's the children. Papa's a Rolling Stone. It's just the way it is. And unfortunately, with her kind of making the first move, it puts me in a position of defense. So it's like I'm going to court to defend myself, which is not the position I want to be in. I'm what am I defending myself for? I have to go ahead and say I didn't really say this stuff. No, I actually have to spend the time, and not have to, right? That's wrong. I'm going to spend the time putting together my own stuff. And what's really cool about that is I love my children. I have like videos on videos on videos, and we have a very solid routine. And in that solid routine, as you guys know, Anthony, I'm really friendly to a lot of people. So I know the mother across the street that I wave to when her daughter's going to the bus. I know the garbage truck man that always waves to Christian. I know the teacher that's sitting outside watching me walk our daughter. Like I know that stuff. So I'm just going to put that all together and reach out to all of these parties and ask them to say something nice or to confirm it. And that's that. But actually, so to Deb, what you said, you need an attorney. Everyone's saying I need an attorney, and maybe you're right, right? I don't. I'm not going with one. I'm just not. I didn't do anything wrong. I feel like I'm very well spoken. I think I have all the proof I need. I think I can put together something. A local fathers. I'll look. I could put together all the stuff I need, and I could certainly put on a show, right? So it's not, and I don't mean to say that in terms of okay, Anthony's going to go and just think he's on Rhino. No, but I know my audience. I know how to operate, and plus, the other half of this, like I said, I grew up in the world's worst divorce. I know, unfortunately, I was kind of brought up in this, so I feel I have a unique set where I can at least go to this first time by myself. Now, at that meeting or at that court hearing is when they decide what's the outcome because they're still children, right? So this is almost like like she has temporary custody. So it's like a mandated like cool off period where the judge now has the ability to say, okay, well, can you guys work it out? Do you get back together? Do you live in the same house? Can you function for the next 2 months? Do you have to live in different places? Now, here's the thing. And again, maybe I'm just whistling Dixie. I know, and this is the part that's going to kill me. So I'm going to try not to tear when I say it because I've already done it a couple of times today. There is not a chance in the entire world that our son, when he didn't see his father pick him up yesterday and didn't see him at all the entire day and went to bed without seeing his father and then woke up and didn't see his father and then didn't see his father in the morning, is not really losing it. Zero chance. Zero, zero, zero. And then also our daughter. You guys see her when she wakes up and sees me. She goes like this. She actually jumps out of my wife's hands. She has to hold her because she's jumping to me. So from the perspective of a mother, I think there is a chance that you can find out that you bit off more than you should. I do believe there's that chance where, okay, I got the kids, I'm winning, but what did you win if the kids are crying all day and you actually know you're hurting them, like they're miserable, you're not doing the right thing. I do think there's a part where I don't care who the mother is. I don't see, and I imagine they're probably up all night crying. How is she going to work? And V, I guess, is just babysitting this during the day. I don't see that being what somebody wants. So I believe there's plenty of room for, all right, listen, you stay in your spot, I stay in my spot, we'll make a couple of ground rules. These are fireable offenses. Bop, 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 bop. You good? I'm good. So it's not that I'm not going with an attorney because I believe like I know more than everyone. I just believe that I could put on enough of a case. And plus, she's been looking for an apartment for 2 months. And a week ago is when I have a record of telling her that I'm going to stay home. And then over the course of just this week is when all of her notes are. So there's a very straight line from she's weaponizing the law to disallow continuity on my behalf. Now, whether I can make that case in a court from the defense, I don't know, right? So that's what we'll find out. But the point of this whole story is there are outcomes that could be, all right, well, now you need to go find a place to live tomorrow, or you need to go do this, do this, do this. I don't know. Or maybe you really should get an attorney. And I don't know. My whole life is Rhino, right? Like that's where my entire net worth is, and that's where I'll stay. It's never leaving. So I don't actually know what I'm saying. I was just kind of sharing a story, and I do think I need some little help. I don't know. I think I'm going to try to put something together in the email tonight. We'll kind of see this video and share it a little more and come up with some type of solution. Hey, if somebody has something nice to say, drop email it here or something.
or Rhino attorney fund. I don't know. So silly. But so I just want to share that because I there's stuff you share and there's stuff you don't. I remember, like, I love Rick. I worked with him for a very long time, and the things that I didn't like about Rick was that anything in his house that happened, he would get drunk and make a video, make a posting, whatever. And I always said to him, I go, he goes, I'm real, and people know that. And I go, no, I actually really do appreciate that, and I think the people that are with you appreciate that too. But I think it greatly diminishes those of the people, greatly diminishes the people that want to be here because they see you as very volatile. And it constantly has the person saying, well, when should I jump ship? Because this is kind of going the wrong way. So I always believed you just keep your personal life out of it. But at the same time, if you're a community, share stuff. I mean, the webinar video that we did had my son and daughter in it, right? Like, I don't hide stuff, but this actually rises to the level of like going back to that high school psychiatrist where it's like, Anthony, do you have the courage to ask for help when you know you need it, or are you going to just keep going and one day not be able to make it? And I feel like this might be that because again, I'm speaking very cheery, very rosy. The conversation, I don't feel like I have a need to be concerned as I'm talking. And I'm sure some of you are like, Ant, you're being far too optimistic. But that's also an effect or a consequence of the fact that Anthony sees this in steps and it's good. This is labor, not problem solving, as we say. And I think that's wrong. I think there's a big chance where it's like, Anthony, your kids just got removed from your house and you have a restraining order that you can't even go near your kids or your wife, and you have to go to court Friday. Like, that's the actual facts, right? That's the headline. Everything I just shared with you is the opinion piece. Everything I just shared with you, well, do I have an hour to make that case in court? I'm going to be going up against my ex-wife who's conceivably had 2 months to just, I don't know, go behind my back and plan stuff, and she has an attorney. And I'm going to be working all week and then just kind of get to Friday. So there is a certain amount of reprioritization I have to do. So what time is it? It's 10:57. I have Rhino Wealth in 3 minutes. So maybe I'll send Rhino Wealth an email, or I don't know. But yeah. So, and I didn't even share the other business. We'll get back to business. So I am in the midst, I'm actually deep in it, of coding a companion bot, which will be accessible through your text messaging, meaning you'll have a chat GPT-4 girlfriend, boyfriend, companion, whatever, listed as a number in your cell phone, and it will remember you for the entire history of your life together, because we have a database that'll store everything. Meaning you can say, I want a girlfriend who's 19 that does this, or I want a husband that's this, or I want not girlfriend that's 19. I'm sorry, that was kind of like quasi-offensive. We're all adults here. I want a wife that's like 45 and this, whatever you want it to be. That's how this gets coded, and then it is that for your lifetime. In fact, it even goes ahead and recognizes notifications. So like as you're having a text conversation with your like digital boyfriend or something, oh man, I have court Friday at 10 o'clock. Oh, okay. All right, sweetie, I'll make sure to remind you. And it automatically will already go ahead and remind you, say, the night before. Like it actually has a memory that's able to do reminders. So it'll text you at that time. The point being, I've always believed that there's an epidemic of loneliness in this country. I think COVID exacerbated it. I think Rhino, I don't think it's the remedy for it. I don't think it's I think it corroborates it. I don't think Rhino is made for, hey, you're lonely, join Rhino. But I do think there's an overlap of people that I think this does solve it. And actually in the coding, I'm also working with some image generators that will allow you to actually speak to the person and have image of them. So like you could be talking to your digital, I don't know, husband or something. And he's like, oh, I'm at work again. This factory is killing me. Oh, hon, take a picture and send it to me. And it'll be the exact person that you coded sending you a picture from the factory that day. So it is kind of a little spooky. but it also will have the intelligence of the entire ChatGPT 4. So it's like you could ask your husband, hey, what's your favorite pot pie recipe? And he'll know it. So it's if, and again, so maybe this is nature nurture, right? Like, is this a consequence of what Anthony's going through, that he decided that he's going to make a digital boyfriend or girlfriend or companion? The point being, if anyone's ever done like one of those long distance relationships, or if anyone could kind of see, like, imagine if you had a friend that no matter what was the exact person you wanted, accessible exactly when you wanted them to, knew everything in the entire world, and they were only a text away, would that be valuable to your life? And I think the answer is yes. So that's going to be the next Rhino offering. It'll be like Rhino companion or something. I actually, and I'm doing it myself. I don't even have the tech team involved in it. So I think I'll actually be able to. And I was planning on getting it done by the end of this week, but my time is a little bit in flux. But anyway, so I just want to share this with everyone. Also because Rhino is Rhino. Rhino is, I sometimes feel guilty for saying it, but it will always be number one. When I saw, because my wife and I actually did go to a therapist last year. And so a therapist was asking me about like my life and this and that, and why does Rhino mean so much to you? And I just, it's Rhino to me. And he goes, actually, it's what we call, or what Freud calls, it's a corrective avatar or corrective something. And I go, what? And I knew what it was because I have the background. But he goes, well, think about it. All of the things that in your life you felt were taken from you, or that you had to, that was unfair, or that you didn't have the opportunity to you're stuck with me, what makes my baby. That's exactly who you're helping. I go, actually, yeah. Because you're not talking to rich people. You're not running a business for money. You're not selling any products. You're basically saying, hey, listen, all of us that feel like they've been taken advantage in some way, shape, or form, collectively, we can go ahead and we can solve it. We just need to get together. Let's speak with one voice. And I will do everything in my power to make sure that I move it along. Because if I could do that, he goes, yeah, because if you could do that, then your childhood was worth something. Your childhood wasn't a bad story. It was what made you who you were. And it's what gave the world what you gave it. He goes, that's why Rhino means so much to you. It's not a business to you. If Rhino fails, your childhood was the reason. You'll go down feeling like, I never had a shot. But if it succeeds and you were able to do this big grand thing, then your childhood wasn't a bad thing. It was a challenge that you overcame and that gave the world something great. It was something that your childhood would be a gift given to you. And when you say it like that, I'm like, all right, Doc, you might be onto something. But he actually was right. So I share that with you to say, it's probably never fun because so many times people are like, Ant, what, something happens to you, what happens to Rhino? So I've always said I'm going to always be transparent. I'll always share things. And this is kind of like Rhino Ledger, because there's some of you that are like, he doesn't even know what's ahead of him right now. I don't think I want to be a part of it. And there's some of you that are like, all right, I know what he needs. I'm going to be there to support it and whatever. So everyone always can make their own decision. And I feel good about that. That makes me happy. But yeah, but I also say it to reconfirm Rhino, and I always feel guilty for saying it. Because I remember one time my wife's like, so what would you say, Rhino or Christian? And I'm like, that's just an unfair question. I'm not even going to dignify it. And I honestly will not even think of it because I don't want to come up with a logical answer to it because it might even hurt me. Rhino is number one in my life. I'll always be, which is well. So that's that. So let's have a super fun day. And I know I went over by a lot. This is back to the old days. Remember when we'd have like these long chats? It's an hour and 4 minutes. And look, now it's not raining. Oh, Ant, you're off the phone now? Okay, we could stop the rain. Mister, when I said things couldn't get any more challenging, it wasn't. When I said things couldn't get worse, it wasn't a challenge. Yeah, that's life. And look at me. I'm in happy spirits. Everything's gonna be fine. My family's like, Anthony, I'm like, I'm gonna be like, can you stop? You guys are worrying yourselves. Everything's fine. So anyway, let me get back to Rhino. I still have to get through all my emails. I haven't touched an email yet. Rhino Wealth, I'm late for. I'm gonna just kind of pop in there and say, hi guys, can we reschedule for tomorrow? I think I'll reschedule the webinar for today because I didn't email for it yesterday. I'll actually just maybe send out the replay and say, hey guys, here you go. Because I don't think there's going to be people attending anyway. Then I could spend some time doing my lawyer stuff today because I need to obviously be a lawyer, but I have a good prompt for it. But what I really would like to do is put it all together and then share it with y'all in an email this evening, and then just kind of get a little feedback like, hey, this is really good, or this is this, or this is that, and just get our way to Friday. And you know what? Take steps, right? So I love everyone, and I will see you later. Bye. And thank you for listening to me. Bye.